parental abduction from 1987. Chief?
Thank you, Jennifer, and thank you for being here. So in June of 1987, the Toronto Police Service was involved in an investigation involving a parental abduction. It's alleged that Alan Mann abducted his 21-year-old son from a court-ordered visit. Since then, the Toronto Police Service has been working very hard with the Missing Children Society of Canada, and Amanda is here, she'll speak later, in efforts to locate Alan Mann and his son. In 2016, the Toronto Police Service held its annual Fugitive Squad conference, and at that conference, this very case was discussed with U.S. law enforcement officials. Through cross-border cooperation, including the use of technology, the U.S. Marshals Service positively identified Alan Mann and his son. On Friday, October the 16th, in Vernon, Connecticut, Alan Mann, now 66, was arrested. And the better news is, on Saturday, October the 27th, Lynette Mann-Lewis was reunited with her son, who is now 33 years old. Upon extradition to Canada, Alan Mann will face one abduction charge. He's currently being held in the United States on multiple charges, and I'm just grateful for the level of cooperation and collaboration when we look at policing in today's environment. The importance of working with other agencies, the importance of having the ability of crossing borders really does lead to the keys to success, and this is a classic example of just that. So now I will introduce Detective Sergeant Wayne Banks from the Fugitive Squad.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Chief. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you a brief outline of the investigation from the onset from 1987. I do have to ask that we will have to limit some of the information we give. There is the ongoing charges that Mr. Mann faces within the U.S. Although it is a different country, we still have to abide by the laws of each country to ensure that he receives a fair trial and that we don't cross those lines, as well as he faces the extradition and his charges in Canada, that we want to make sure that we are doing the proper thing for the right reasons. So as the Chief made mention, in June of 1987, Mr. Alan Mann, on a supervised visit, abducted his 21-month-old son, Germains. They fled to the U.S. shortly after, entering into the United States illegally, at which point Mr. Mann obtained falsified documents and took on an assumed name for that of himself and his son, where they lived basically a life of lies as to who they were and what they did. Unbeknownst to Germains, he was under the impression that his mother had died shortly after birth and lived with his father in the U.S. This case was investigated by the Missing Children Society of Canada. In particular, Mr. Ted Davis, one of the investigators there. It's my information that he's been working this file for about 20 years and took this on as a passion, and my heart goes out to him and my dedication goes out to Mr. Davis for the amount of work that he has put into this investigation. The Toronto Police Service also conducted their investigation, but again, there were no connections to Canada, and our leads went cold. As the Chief made mention, in 2016, the Toronto Police Fugitive Squad hosted our annual International Fugitive Investigative Training, which usually brings in representatives last year and the year before from 21 countries, and over 200 investigators from across the world attend this training. During the conference, we had the opportunity to introduce Mr. Davis from the Missing Children Society of Canada, as well as representatives from the U.S. Marshal Service, where they were able to begin and start talking about the case in a more detailed, in-depth fashion. As a result of this meeting and the investigation carried on by Mr. Davis and the United States Marshal Service, leads came in to where they identified a possibility of a person identified who they believed to be Mr. Mann, who was under an assumed name, which we will not release at this time, again, to protect the son, who is, although some of the media outlets and probably media outlets here have his name, he has asked for a bit of privacy while he lives for the enjoyment of being able to meet with his mother for the first time. As the Chief made mention, modern technology has immensely helped in this case. Once the potential suspect was identified, we used facial recognition through the U.S. and through Canada, where Mr. Mann was actually positively identified. The United States Marshal Service, in their investigation, again, which commenced from the time he entered the U.S., resulted in knowledge where he had been committing criminal offenses in the U.S. from the time that he had entered in 1987. The U.S. Marshal Service with the U.S. Attorney then took out a warrant for Mr. Mann's arrest, where he was arrested by the U.S. authorities on Friday, October the 26th. He was taken into custody and will face prosecution in the U.S. We, as the Toronto Police Fugitive Squad and the Toronto Police Service, will now begin working with our counterparts with the U.S. Marshals, with the IAG and the DOJ from both countries to ensure that once the charges are dealt with in the United States, that Mr. Mann will be extradited back to Canada to face charges, as the Chief made mention, for the abduction of Germains when he was taken from his mother. At this time, I'd like to introduce Ms. Amanda Pick from the Missing Children Society of Canada. She's the CEO. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I brought Kleenex because I believe that I may need it in a few moments, as most of you probably will as well. I just want to thank you all for coming. Since 1986, the Missing Children Society of Canada has existed to do two things: support police and protect children. Today is a powerful example of how partnership, collaboration, determination, and hope come together. 2 days after Lynna's son was abducted, she reached out to our organization and asked for help. And for 31 years, we've stood with her. We've stood beside police in the search and hope of finding Germain and bringing him home. Ted is very similar to, I would say, almost every single police officer I've ever met. He's a retired police officer. Spent 25 years with the Calgary Police Service, and then another 23 years with us. 48 years of working to protect children, and he's humble. I insisted that he come and stand here today with us, but he said no, and it was because we just returned yesterday from being with Lynette when we took her down from the moment we told her to the U.S. to be reunited with her son. So I asked Ted to provide a couple of words directly from him because I wanted to make sure that his voice was heard today, and it was important to Lynette. And here is what Ted wanted to share. We've investigated probably well over 250 cases of missing children during my time with MCSC. During that time, the Mann file quickly became the file. And what he didn't say in here and what I will share is he made a promise to Lynette and her family that he would do everything in his power to make sure that Germain was brought home, and he did. Lynette and her family have been a tower of strength and perseverance throughout the investigation. During all these years, her strength and her courage always gave us hope and spurred us to never give up and work harder than ever. Over the last 31 years, this investigation was intense, involving approximately 300 or 400 interviews, and at least 200 tips from the public, all of which were taken seriously and investigated. The turning point in this was when we met a senior member of the United States Marshal Service at a conference co-hosted by the Marshals and the Toronto Police Fugitive Squad. We spoke to them about Lynna's case. And here's what he didn't write in here, but I know it's the truth. He said he could never retire. He can never stop until he finds Germain. And so he asked them to work with him in that effort. The Toronto Police Fugitive Squad was instrumental in the resolution of this file, and we hoped by that teaming up with them, we could then bring a powerful result of reuniting Germain with Lyneth. The U.S. Marshals indicated that they would love to assist, and they had just the right guy to deal with it. Nick Risigliano was assigned to the case, and he took it from there. I cannot say enough words about the work of Nick and his partners. As a result of their investigation and partnership with the Toronto Police Fugitive Squad and the Missing Children Society of Canada, Lyneth was reunited with her son. The rest is well known, and the success of this case rests with the incredible work of all of these organizations. My gratitude goes out to the officers, as well as the United States Marshal Service in New York and Hartford, and the Toronto Police Fugitive Squad. Thank you to the RCMP and several other police agencies, including the Calgary Police Service, for their assistance when we were dealing with tips over the years. Lastly, special thanks to Darrell Wilson and Jack Morkin, retired Calgary Police and MCSC investigators, and Barb Snyder, retired MCSC case manager. Ted and I had the privilege of going to see Lyneth on Thursday. Oh boy, sorry. And telling her that Germain had been found. We then boarded a flight and headed to take her to be reunited with her son. I just want to thank Lyneth. I want to thank her family. You inspire us. When we talk about hope, there is no better example of a family who has a missing child. Every single day, hope, they take one step and put it in front of the other. Hope is what drives all of the police services and individuals who search relentlessly, and hope drives our organization as well. I thank you, Lyneth. It was an honor. It was an honor.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Lyneth Mann-Lewis, and I'm here to share my story with you all today. It's been a long and hard 31 years journey since my son was abducted. I have endured many hard days, some of which are extremely difficult to describe. My first conversation with my son after his abduction, I recognized his life too pertaining to this meeting was also very difficult. Today, with utmost happiness, I am here to share with you the end of our journey and constant worrying are finally over. For all the inspiration I received, it encouraged me to maintain hope and believe that I will be able to meet my son once again. I am at a loss for words when it comes to describing how much I'm thankful to the Canadian and the U.S. agencies involved in making this happen and solving a crime that was committed. I want to thank the Toronto Police, Fugitive Squad, Detective Andrew Lawson, Crime Analyst Serge Bizarro, and the U.S. Marshals, Senior Inspector Nick Riciliano, Senior U.S. Marshal Kevin Komorowski, Supervisor Deputy U.S. Marshal Steve Caroli, Supervisor Deputy U.S. Marshal Brian O'Neill, Deputy U.S. Marshal Kevin Perot, Missing Children Society of Canada, and of course, Mr. Ted Davis. Ted encouraged me to be always believing and resolute in his dedication to the case and never giving up until he found my son. Thank you, Ted, again, and to everyone. And through this unrelenting resolve, I will forever be grateful to him for everything he has done. Amanda Pick, from the moment I first talked to Amanda, I knew, just like continuous conversation with Ted, she would also be extremely great person, would help me through this ordeal and kept the positivity to the time I have known her. And for that, I'm very grateful. Barbara, I want to thank Barbara. She always kept in touch with me and checked on me through the years. Darrell Wilson, Jack Markin, and of course, the RCMP. Merritt Morrison, who was always encouraged and always encouraged me and also checked upon me through the years of investigation. I want to thank my families, my husband, Winston, and my son who could make it today because he has a test at school. He wanted to be so much beside his mother. So he just wanted, I know he's right here because he never left me with all of this that's happening in my life. My friends and all the people who have supported me over the years. I would not have been able to make it to this point without their love and support. Their encouragement kept me strong to hope and believe that it was possible to see my son once again and be in the life for whatever time I can. I want to encourage other families. Yes, I want to encourage other families with missing children and loved ones not to ever give up hope on finding them. I am the proof that after 31 long years of suffering, 31 long years, one should never give up, but be patient, be strong, and believe that all things are possible and that anything can transpire. I would also ask you to support the Missing Children Society of Canada, please. I'm doing this because it had benefited me, and I would like to pass it on for other families. So in any way to support them, to help them by donating to help other families, please. As you can imagine, this is a very difficult time for all of us. My family, I would really appreciate the media to respect our privacy. Thank you. Thank you all.
What's the first thing you said to your son?
What's the
first thing you said to your son when you saw him?
You want to really know that? I grabbed him and I squeezed his head. I want to feel if he's real. I touched him. I said, oh my God, my baby.
And what did he say to you?
He looked, oh, Mommy, you have my eyes. And he hugged me and he kissed. You have my eyes. He hugged me and he kissed me. And we held there for a long time.
And what did you say when Amanda first walked into your house and told you your son had been found?
You want to know that, really? That lady over there?
What did you say? What did you say
What did I say to her?
when you heard those words?
That my son is alive? I didn't bother to talk to her. I run and I held on. I said, oh my God, you guys didn't tell me anything? You just come here, words couldn't express what I felt. The words, your son is alive, we found him. That is breathtaking. Just knowing for 31 long years he's alive.
31 years. You look so together today after 31 years.
Oh, thank you for that. But I have to also give credit to this guy here, my husband. This lady here, my family, and the friends that I have. They made sure I kept it together because they had only one intention. And this is it, we are here today, where they all said, Lynette, we're going to see him again because the only thing we have in our mind is positive things.
Were you nervous going down there to see him?
God, I didn't sleep all night. Yes. I was at the airport 4 o'clock in the morning, leaving the airport at 7 o'clock, excuse me. And I sat there and I waited for Amanda and Tad. And when they came, the plane was canceled because of lightning striking the plane. Come on, listen, look at this story. Lightning striking the plane. We had to take another flight, which took us to different directions. You know, so it wasn't a direct flight. And in that meantime, it was hard times because I'm sitting there wondering in my mind, what is going on here? What's going to happen here? What should I don't know. Then I'm telling myself, you know what? Calm, be calm, be calm. This lady over here with Ted, they would talk, and she would say all kind of stuff just to keep my mind calm.
So it's 31 years for a couple of extra hours, whatever.
That's what I said to myself. I said, you know, 31 years, and I have to just wait maybe another couple of hours. You can do it. Hold on. But at the same time, I'm still saying, Jesus, my God, please give me this strength. Give me this strength. And you know what? Today, before all of you, I can say, the strength He has given me, I am so blessed and thankful to the Almighty God because He really, I prove Him.
This is a tough question, but after 31 years, I know he had a different identity, and I know you weren't saying what his current, the name that he was living under, but are you going to refer to him and talk to him as Germain, or the name that he's known for the majority of his life?
All right, there's two parts to that question. I've always known my child as Germain. So yes, that sticks with me, Germain. But I also have to respect the fact that he was a child. Didn't know anybody, nothing. He didn't know anything. So what was given to him, he had no choice but to live with that. And so if the name that he has right now, he would like to respect that, then I'm going to stand with him. But that's also decided upon. I can't go into that details because I don't know.
You said this is the end of your journey, but in a way, this is really the beginning of a journey, is it not?
Well, you know
now
something?
are discovering your son.
That is so true. The end of it, the long struggle of not knowing where he is, where he was. But now, yes, we all have the time to move forward, and that is also going to be a struggle because Germain is still, it's a hard life for him right now.
Was your time spent with him just asking questions? Did you just want to know everything about him over the past 31 years, or did you just want to look at him?
All of the above. All of the above. I looked at him. I sit on him. I cook for him. Can you believe it? I made sure before I left there. Amanda and I went shopping. We bought food. And yes, he only wanted time just for the two of us. So I said, Amanda said, and I said, oh, that's wonderful. So I went over there and I cooked. He didn't like, well, he doesn't want to eat meat. So I said, well, I didn't know that. I pick up chicken. So I said, what are we going to do with the chicken? He said, you know what, Mommy? Cook the chicken. I'm going to eat the chicken. So I got up and I fixed the chicken and I steamed the vegetables because he loved the vegetables. And when I finished, by this time we're talking and the food's cooking. So I said, I smell a little thing there. I said, and I run over to the stove. I said, baby, it's slightly burning. So he went on the cupboard. He picked up a pot. I said, where was that pot all the time I was going to cook? You had that there? So he took it out, and then we washed it out. And I take the top off of where, but what was burnt wasn't too bad. But because of our conversation, it wasn't too bad. So scrape it into the other pot, put it back there, and slowly, when we fix it up, then he said to me, Mommy, smells good. I said, yeah, wait until you taste it. So I shared it out, and he ate every living piece of that plate. So did I. Mom, this squash is good. I love it. I said, well, now you're going to start eating a lot of squash. Because I mean, I'm going to cook squash for you. And we had fun. And then after that, his friend stopped by, and we all chatted for a while, and then he took me home. Imagine that. He took me home. I said, when I sat in the car, I heard him playing the music. I said, well, wait a second now. You're like your brother, because it's the same music he plays in the car. And I said to him, oh, but now I feel good. I feel good sitting beside my baby. So I sat there, and and he played songs, and we talked, and then he took me home to the apartment, to the hotel. And we sat in the hotel, and we talked. He didn't want to go. He didn't want to leave, and I didn't want him to go, but I know he was very tired. And I said, you know what? I don't want you to be on the road too late, because I don't want anything to happen to you. So yes, it's time for you to go, and we'll talk in the morning. When I went to the door with him, he went outside, and he stood. He looked at me. He went halfway. He came back, and he hugged me. I said, Mom, I love you. I said, I love you too, baby. I said, come on, head the road now. Hit the road. So he went down. When he went to the elevator, he pressed the button. He went and he hid like this. Then he come back and he looked. I said, okay, baby, I love you, bye-bye. And then I thought he left. So I still stood there. Then I see him come back a little bit more, and he's shaking. I said, baby, come on, go. It's getting late. He said, okay, Mommy. And then he left. And then he called me early in the morning after that. Mommy, how's everything? And I said, everything's okay. And we left it at that.
Lynn, how often do you think you'll be seeing Germain from here on in? Is he going to continue to live in Connecticut then?
I can't answer much of your question at this point, because there's so much more behind this. But yes, if I had my way, I'll be there all the time. See him.
It's a tough question. It's a tough question. What would you say to Germain's father?
Pardon me? Actually, they have introduced themselves. He already spoke to him. They spoke on the phone.
What did they talk about?
I was not the conversation piece. But as for what I heard, it was very exciting.
Last question. It's a tough one, though. What would you say to Germain's father?
That I'm going to leave. For what, the little part that I might say, I just thought it was sad for him to have done what he did. You never take a child from its parent, no matter what. Give the child a chance to make their decisions, what they want to do. Thank you.
Thanks very much, everybody.
That concludes today's news conference. Thank you.